So what I did, I took the tools that I was proposing in the past on improving automatically software quality and make them adopted for the scientific community. But if I was writing a proposal to say, oh, I want to have better tools for software quality, without actually explaining how this is linked to the scientific community, people, they will say, this is just, a regular proposal about improving the state of the art of software quality, for instance. So you need to link that to the needs of the scientific communities out of this platform. So your platform needs to enable new knowledge, a new possible contribution by the scientific community out of your platform. So innovation is very important, but innovation needs to be built on existing capabilities. So reviewers, they will not look at your proposal as how it is original comparing to existing state of the art, but how it is mainly original comparing to what you did for now. So you may say, like, for now, I have this prototype, it is working, but it is not scalable. I have this prototype, but it was limited to this specific inputs. But the scientific community are using this kind of input. So I want to ask for money to meet the needs of the scientific community. So you have to make sure to explain the gap between your current prototypes now, the existing capabilities now, and what you want to achieve after 3 years of this funded proposal based on the scientific community needs. So this is a very important aspect to target. Also, in general, they try to encourage collaboration. And collaboration here means that you should actually, because this proposal is more about leading some new research infrastructure for the community. So you have to listen and enable collaboration from the scientific community to your platform. So you have to explicitly say how the scientific community can contribute into your platform. They can contribute, for example, by saying you'll be organizing, for example, a workshop as co-located with the conference. So you are inviting people to gather some requirements or what they would expect from this platform. You may say that the scientific community can actually enhance this platform. They can go on GitHub and we'll make the source code available of our platform, and they can actually add new code and add new contribution. You have to explain this process, how it will work. Who will be reviewing this contribution from the science? Because this is very important for sustainability. If you want something sustainable, you need to have the community contributing and enabling that. And the reviewers, they will look to that, how you are enabling collaboration within the scientific community to your platform. And you have to address that into your proposal. You have also to leverage this recognized being strategic and also sustainable, and make sure that here you explain how you would evaluate the success metrics, how you can say that your stuff will be sustainable. Some metrics could be, some success metric could be, okay, I will count the number of researchers and scientists who will use my platform during the 3 years of the development. I will count the number of contributions that I got from the community to my platform. So you have to explicitly explain what are the metrics, because reviewers, they're asked to evaluate this, if you propose these metrics or not. Yes?
Yeah. I have a question. So actually 2 questions. The first one, talking about existing compatibility, the one is like the PI or co-PI's compatibility, or the public existing public compatibility.
Yeah, this is a very good question, because you can leverage both based on your context or one of them.
Okay.
So capabilities here mean that you already did work and you published that, and you have already an initial version of the platform. This is your existing capabilities. Then you have a need from the scientific community for this prototype, and you need to explain that. So this is what is missing to actually have it as a sustainable platform for the scientific community. So it could be based on your prior research, or it could be based on what I did in this proposal. For example, I proposed prototype on software quality at the code level. I have another researcher that I know him, he was doing the same thing, but at the architecture level. So what we did, we leveraged our existing capabilities to actually build a holistic platform that can actually target code and architecture level. For example, I'm writing a proposal with Berhanu. He's expert on security. I'm more expert on quality. So we are trying to integrate our both capabilities. He published tools, and he has tools on vulnerabilities detection and so on. I have tools more on quality issue detection. We want to have a holistic platform by integrating together our both existing capabilities to build a platform. If you are not in that case where you don't have already existing capabilities, you may leverage that based on existing funded NSF projects. So you can say, I know that this group, they provided this platform as open source and so on out of an NSF proposal, but it is good, but the community is missing that, and I can do this missing work to make this sustainable and adding some missing feature that the community is looking for. So building on existing ability could be by linking this with some funded NSF projects and other program, and you want to leverage a more sustainable platform out of this. Or you can do both. You can say, you did your work, you have your prototypes, you know that there is work that was funded by NSF, but still not sustainable, it's not public event. So I want to actually integrate my stuff that I was doing with what that NSF project that was funded they were doing, and that's why I'm writing this proposal. So, so does this answer your question?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is need to be really from the very beginning of your proposal, from the very first page. If reviewers, they may have a sense that this is not really, built on existing capabilities, they may start saying, no, this is not targeting the main focus of the program. So this needs to be clear from the very beginning. Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So just a clarification on the NSF proposal. So is it required that I should leverage what has been funded through NSF, or could it be something else through another project?
Yeah, it is optional, but reviewers and program directors, they may give more confidence in terms of the intellectual merit if this was funded by NSF and now you want to make it sustainable. I asked explicitly the program director this question when I was reviewing proposal, and this was his response. So there is no requirement that it should be funded by NSF, but if you show that this is funded by NSF, it may give us more trust that the intellectual merits and the broader impact is high, but it's not still sustainable, so I'm asking for this money. But still, if you publish this in top places and so on, you can still leverage that. So people, they're looking for getting more trust that this is something innovative by looking if this was funded by NSF or published in top places. Yes. Oh, yes, John and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to make a suggestion. From writing proposals and reviewing proposals, it's often, at least my experience, very useful to have a base graphic that simply defines the relationships between all these things at a very high level, so that a reviewer can very quickly get a snapshot of understanding of where your contribution is relative to others, inputs, outputs, uniquenesses that obviously are more detailed and described in more detail in the body of the text. But I just find that sort of a graphical representation of what you're doing relative to everything else is often really useful in being able to just quickly convey what you're trying to do.
Yes, and that's what we did actually in this funded project. So yeah, this is a very relevant comment by John. So thanks John for that. So yeah, so this is having kind of a graph that or figure that show how the different pieces of what you are proposing will be connected together, and reviewers would be looking for this kind of figures to easily get the idea. For example, by just looking to the figure, the two main keywords of the NSF of this call for NSF proposal are there, which are software and data. So we are proposing something which is based on software, because your platform in general should be a software, or it could be whether data or software. And also we try to also create a repository collecting data from the community on the quality of their code. So just by looking at this figure, so as a reviewer, I may be convinced, I may say, yes, there is one piece which is they're doing software development of an infrastructure, but at the same time, they are collecting data that could be useful to inform that platform that they're building. So, and also it will show the different thrusts. So we have three main thrusts that correspond to the three main components of the proposal. So that's one way, to show probably the vision of the proposal within a simple figure. Yes.
So if you have an unpublished work, can you add it as a preliminary work?
I would say for this kind of program, they focus more on existing capabilities. And the way how they define existing capabilities, it should be actually whether published in really very good venues or already funded by NSF, and also we need to show that the community actually need this kind of tools, need this kind of, you could say that you have been working with researcher in physics and in chemistry, helping them to solve their problem. They use your tool and stuff like that. So you need to do both. It should be based. It's not like core NSF programs where you may say, oh, I did some work on collecting data, and then based on this data, I did some empirical study. Now I want to build the tool. No, it should be like, I have already something, I have already a prototype, but I want to make this available to the scientific community. And when you say I want to make it available, it should be also sustainable, that it's not just to use it for 1 year or 2 years. I want to use this money to actually fund 1 or 2 graduate research assistants during 3 years on making this, available for the whole community. And this is how it makes the whole program broad, because it could be anything in the science and engineering community, as long as it has value to a broad audience. So you need to make sure that you leverage that. So to answer your question, in general, they want to see these capabilities already published. It's fine to leverage what you did in your PhD. For instance, if you are, a new assistant professor, you can actually leverage what you did before. But the best way to do it is to see, for example, another collaborator. He did work on something else which is complementary to what you did, and we say, every one of us was doing this in isolation, and I want to make this as a holistic platform and integrating everything together. Or you may say, I was doing this work, just as a desktop or standalone application. I want to make it a web service or open to the wide community as a web service and building website repository for that and stuff. So this is, the way how they evaluate proposals. So it is better to be published to show the impact, because they want to see some initial impact of your prototype, that, okay, that's something promising and there is an interest from the community. If it is not published, how the community even heard about this? Or how the community even, think that this is important if it is not published yet or preliminary. So, yeah. Yes?
Sure. 2 questions. So one is how it is seeing industrial experience as proof of existing capabilities, if it is at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is whether it is a good idea to have industrial partners in this sort of proposals.
Yes, that's also a very good question, because that's part of some pitfalls that people do in this program. So you have to be careful a little bit that NSF, when they fund proposals, they expect that this is either need to be open source. They may require that sometimes explicitly, especially for this kind of programs. So sometimes when you have industry partners and you try to leverage that could be licensed for them and stuff like that, the reviewers may not like it. They may say, oh, we are funding a proposal to benefit that industry partner. Let them actually fund the project for you. So you need to be careful how you leverage that. This is important in this program because they still mention this is for the science and engineering, but you should make it in a way that, okay, I have these practitioners, I have this connection in industry who want to actually evaluate our platform or contribute to our platform from their perception. For example, in my proposal, what we did, we said that scientists in general, they're not expert in programming or dealing with quality and security issues, but we may also have practitioners interested to this from their perspective as well, and they can even help the scientists in answering some of their questions and so on. So, but it should not be a way that I have industry partners who are interested to license this. You can leverage that this is very important for the scientific community, but also for practitioners, this is also important, and they can access it since it is public use, or they can also provide us feedback, stuff like that. But just be careful not to, because one of the important criteria we discussed is the licensing part. You need to have a subsection in your proposal that talk about the licensing part, and you have to make sure in general that it's open source and it's publicly available. Okay. Yes.
So you may have said this before, I just walked in, but
Oh, that's fine.
it's very central to the proposal would be the user community, right?
Mhm.
Then everything goes around that. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, in your case, it's people, scientists who aren't necessarily software people that write software, my understanding.
Yeah. For me, any scientist who is developing software as part of his research.
So I'm wondering what other
Prototype.
potential user communities are, what would be an acceptable user community?
As long as it is part of the scientific community, it is fine. Just you have to make sure that your scientific community, the researchers, scientists, could be as well PhD students who can use this platform to enable, or accelerate their research work. Just you have to make sure that this community is not narrowed down to specific,
Let's say more small
area.
PvP, I guess. Right?
Yes, you need to make sure that this is broad.
Right.
And that's why when we wrote this proposal, we tried to make it broad. We said any researcher, any scientist who is developing research prototype as a software, they're putting their code on GitHub or whatever, they may benefit out of this. So it's very important that you don't make it narrowed down to a small community, because reviewers, they will actually look at that. The program directors of this program, they want to fund proposals that can benefit as much researchers and scientists as possible. And one way to do this, that you can show how this platform could help other NSF-funded projects, or how it could help scientists, PhD students. So we need to make it broad, not really specific to a small community. Some communities are very large, like for example, the robotics community is very large. So if you have something just for the robotics community, that's great. But some other communities that are very specific, like the community who apply deep learning for detection of motion, this is too narrowed down, and people, they start ask question, how many people will get benefit out of this? So this is one of the success metrics of the proposals, that they have to make sure that you can high number of potential users of your platform. Great. Yes.
Yeah, because for the collaborative, you here talking about the CI experts. So because, for example, now the proposal we are working on, all the PIs are from the engineering.
Yes.
We don't have any CI experts as a PI. So could you introduce, for example, for this case, how to involve the CI experts for the collaboration?
Yes. So they don't expect that. They don't expect that they should be one of your PIs. It is fine, and still it is optional to have, for example, letters of collaboration from them, but it is not mandatory in this program. And I didn't see a lot of emphasis from reviewers on that part, honestly, whether in the panel or the reviewers, they would be looking more at the collaboration aspect. How did you actually describe the plan of how your community will contribute into this platform.
Okay.
One way could be I will be putting the source code of this platform on GitHub, and people can submit a pull request, and I will have one of the graduate students who will be hired from this project, the one who will be reviewing this pull request before merging them into my code base. So we have to explain how the community can contribute into your infrastructure. This is the part that they focus on them. And the reviewers, they may like to see stuff that probably you start doing this kind of collaboration. So if I go to my proposal, for example, you'll see from the introduction, we try to leverage this by saying that that we are working with scientists who are in physics and so on to improve the quality of their code, and they use it kind of our initial prototype. So even if I'm in a software engineering research community, so I'm sharing that we are collaborating with the scientific community in other domains, and this is what we will continue doing it via the enhanced platform. So this is how they focus it in terms of the collaboration evaluation criterion. In terms of cyber infrastructure expert, they don't actually require that you need to have this. Just if you can show that you are following the best practice of integrating researcher from different community and how you would enable this, because just saying it's not enough. So in one of the subsection, we try to address this, and we have just one dedicated subsection to describe how we'll be actually involving the community. So we call it close collaborations, and then we try to explain how we'll be involved with the community. We'll be doing the workshop to get feedback from the community, and also how we'll be working with others on this. So we need to have a subsection about how you can enable the collaboration from the community, and also explain how you'll be doing this. So I remember at some point we were putting this as part of the project management as well, how people, they will contribute and so on. So as you can see in the proposals, all the stuff that they're asking about, they need to be explicitly addressed in your core 4 proposal. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, so yeah, we can continue. Yes, if you have another question, it's fine. We have
Yeah,
yes.
no, I'm fine right now. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds
Thank
great.
you. Appreciate it.
Great. So there are two programs in this call for proposal. The first one is the software elements or data elements, which is up to 600K for 3 years. The second one is, I think, 1.5 million, if I'm not wrong, actually it's up to $5 million for 5 years. So my suggestions: don't submit to the framework implementation if you didn't probably get an Elements project funded. Most of the projects that get funded in the second category, the framework implementation, are proposals that were already funded in the first category, the Elements, for 600K, and they show the success, and then NSF want to continue, enhancing and investing in this platform. So $5 million, it's nice. To submit proposal. Most of the projects that get funded are actually some finished projects at the Elements level, which is 600K. Then PIs are explaining how they will continue expanding this and leveraging the feedback that they received from the community and having a larger group of people collaborating together to continue enhancing the platform that you actually built. So what I'm talking about mainly for today is only the Elements one, which is up to 600K. Once you get one Elements project funded, you can ask for the 5 million later once you are almost done with your current projects. All the projects that they have seen funded in the framework implementation category, they are actually the extension of existing framework implementations. So as we were discussing, so for this NSF evaluation of this program, so of course they will still look at the intellectual merit and broader impact. but the main evaluation would be about the specific review criteria. People, they get easily convinced if you are showing that this was published in top venue or was already funded by NSF, so they get easily convinced with this two first parts, and then they will mainly focus on the other part, which is the specific review criteria. It should not be just funded by NSF as long as it is a reliable source and you can show that there is a broad impact and there is an interest from the community, it's fine. So again, since this built on existing capabilities, the first two reviewers in general, they don't focus a lot on that. They just want to see that this is built on existing capability, but mainly they focus on this specific review criteria that are all this important part. So of course, for review criteria for NSF, I will not emphasize on the first one, which are intellectual merit and broader impact. I'm assuming most of the people in the room, they know how NSF evaluate proposal, that they focus more on why the problem is important rather than how you'll be solving the problem, because reviewers and program directors, as long as you are working on an important problem, it's good. So even if there is a failure, so they try to work on important problems. So you have to always justify that in your intellectual merit and broader impact will follow. So here is kind of a template in general how you can address this intellectual merit and broader impact. I shared with you that by email for the center members. So the first two paragraphs actually of your proposal are very important to address this. So the way how you need to do it in general, you need to have one or two sentences to say that this is, I mean, may bring wide interest from people. This is really important. Even if I'm not expert in your area, I will be convinced that this is an important, I mean, area. This should be the first two sentences of your proposal in general. Then you may say, to address the challenges, people, they try to do this, other people, they try to do that. However, here is the gap, that people, they did this, they did that, but they didn't actually address this gap. Once you establish that gap, you need to really emphasize the urgency of it. And the best way to emphasize the urgency is to say, without fixing this problem, things will continue to be too bad and the world will be really bad and so on. You need to have this kind of bragging in the proposal. Like, without funding this right now, I mean, things will continue to be really bad. So this is very important to do in the first paragraph of your proposal. And then you need to also talk about leveraging your previous work. You need to explain why you are the unique person to actually address this gap. And one great way to do it is to use some keywords like extensive, like the PI has already extensive experience on addressing this and that, and he can leverage his research to do that. So this is in general the best way to kind of from the very beginning tell the reviewers that you are the qualified person to address the gap. The gap is there, you establish the gap. You know at the general level the related work, and this is an important problem that can be addressed by you. So if I go to my proposal, I'll show you that in action, how this actually works. So actually the very first sentence of the proposal is talking about how General Motors were actually recalling 4.3 million cars just because of a simple quality defect in their programs in a car control, and this was linked to some drama like injuries, stuff like that. So you are establishing that importance of the program from the very beginning, and then you try to say people they did this and that. There is Wicca and stuff like that who did that, but actually nobody addressed the problem of quality for scientists and so on. And then you put this urgency by saying, without having this adoption of the state-of-the-art of advanced software and so on, the credibility and the extendability of scientific research is at risk. So by saying this, you are putting the urgency part. And then you start delivering the why you are qualified and so on, and then you have the PI qualification part as well that can enhance that. So in general, this is the way typical in general how to write this proposal, especially for the National Science Foundation.
I have a question.
Great. So here are the criteria, but here are the main questions, like when you serve as a panel or as a reviewer in this panel. In general, these are the questions that the reviewers need to actually answer in order to evaluate your proposal. So to what extent this is science-driven, to what extent it's innovative, and how you enable collaboration, to what extent it's built on existing recognized capabilities. That's why I said if it is not published, it's not considered recognized capabilities. Then they will ask questions about the project plan. This is why the management is important. What are the deliverables? And they will be asked about the metrics. So unlike other NSF proposals, they don't ask for this explicitly. Reviewers will be asked about the success metrics of that. And finally, the sustainability. What's your plan to make this sustainable? And you have to address this clearly in the proposal. Also, pay attention that for this call for proposal, unlike all other NSF proposals, there are an additional supplementary document, because this is one of the main evaluation criteria of this program. You have a 2-page limit to actually add another document on how you will deliver your work, and also what are the metrics that you'll be using to evaluate the success of your platform. So to write a competitive proposal, you have to make sure that you identify the science and engineering challenges, and this will enable fundamental new science advances, and it will enable community participation. It should be built on existing capability, and it should be also trying to target really a wide audience of scientists and practitioners. So this is about the programs. I tried to mix that with the example of the proposal, how to get funded. But here are some important steps to share with you briefly, because we want to have time as well for the brainstorming part and answering more of your questions. So the first one, make sure that you try to send emails to program director to ask if they consider you as a reviewer for their panel. Before submitting a proposal to this program, I was on a panel before, so I learned a lot on how actually the reviewers in the panel actually behave. And one takeaway was that for the panel of this program, since this is really broad, they got over 500 submissions to this program from everywhere. The people sitting in the panel, they are from physics, they are from chemistry, they are from computer science. So you will probably have only one out of the 4 reviewers that are reviewing your proposal are probably expert in the area of your proposal. So the way how you write the proposal, it's very important to make it accessible to even non-experts. And people in this proposal will trust you whenever you show evidence, because they're not expert in what you are proposing. So as long as you show evidence that there is an interest from the community, this is important, they will just trust you based on that. So it's similar than, for example, core programs where all the 4 reviewers will be expert in your field and they know exactly the related work and so on. The second one, make sure that this is targeted really a large scientific community. If you are talking in narrow down core community, it will never work. Make sure that you enable contributions from the community and you address that, how you will be actually doing this. Also mention in the introduction section explicitly how your proposal is actually addressing the different review criteria. So here's one example from proposal that I'm writing with Burhanu, for example. We are putting this on explicitly in the introduction section and explaining why this is science-driven, innovative, and so on. So it's very important to address these key parts even in the introduction section. And again, reviewers will be happy when they find this information quickly and easy, because you are helping them to write their reviews. Basically, in general, they get confused quickly. And also make sure that you provide success metric and also provide letters of support. For this program, it's very important to show that there are people interested from the community to contribute and so on. Unlike other programs, they may not expect a lot of letters of collaboration. make sure that for this program that you bring actually a lot of letter of collaboration. Not really a lot, but at least from some key people, few people that you get letter of collaboration that they are interested. Not many probably from industry, but also from the science community because this is the main important aspect of the proposal. So if you want to hear kind of what some reviewers are looking for when they read this proposal, you need to show that this is prototype that was out of a funded NSF proposal project or it was published in top venues. Also, you get requests from the community about getting your tool. They want to try out your tool and so on. You may leverage that by saying, oh, I put my code on GitHub and it was downloaded by X number of people that showed the interest of the community. And also, you want to ask to build sustainable platform. And as I told you again, sustainability is for not 3 years, it's for 20 years and so on. How you be addressing this by enabling the community involvement in this process. And finally, you have to make sure that this is targeting a huge community, not really narrowing down this into specific community. Common pitfalls that people do in this program, I have seen a lot of them. They try to leverage completely new ideas. They're not building on existing capabilities. In general, will be ranked as not competitive right away because you have to make sure that this is built on your previous work or existing capabilities of the community. A lot of it that target small community, they don't integrate letter of support. You have to make sure you integrate your support, or they have a weak sustainability plan. So I've seen a lot of reviewers sometimes complaining by saying, oh, the only sustainability element that I found here in this proposal was just to say they are putting their code on GitHub. Okay, but I mean, who will review the contributions from the community, who will be doing the testing of the new code added to your. So you really need to be careful on that, on how you make this sustainable, because this is the main evaluation criteria for this program. Sometimes people, they don't put success metrics, and this is emphasized. Also, make sure that you don't emphasize a lot on the educational impact. Like, I know in core programs and the broader impact, you may emphasize this. In this program, since it's targeting more the science, the main educational impact would be to help PhD students accelerating, for example, the experiments that will be done with this PhD student. But don't really emphasize this a lot on integration with courses, stuff like that. This is kind of typical in other programs, but reviewer, they don't really care a lot about that for this core for proposal. And also don't emphasize any licensing for industry. If you are trying to license this to industry, it's just you are giving a good reason to reject your proposal. So you need to make it just open source. You welcome the industry community to actually use your prototype, giving feedback and so on, but it should not be very focused on that. So I tried already to give you, the way how probably I was writing this proposal. The main key part was to say that I was doing research on software quality. I know that scientists, they don't have a good background on that, so I just tried to, leverage my capabilities, our capabilities on this to build an infrastructure that can benefit the science community. People who are not expert in physics and not expert in programming from different communities will be actually getting benefits of this. Also, this is what the panelists wrote as a summary of the evaluation of my proposal. And you can see they use the different criteria. They explained why it is science-driven, because this addresses a long-standing issue in the research computer community, mainly the large scale of technical depth and poor code that exists in publicly available scientific tools. Why it is innovative, because we are building this on existing capabilities and so on, and how this will be close, how will be enable community to contribute, and also how we are doing the planning and so on. So this is how reviewers actually look at that when they try to evaluate your proposals. Okay, so any other general question before that we start hearing probably your potential ideas, and we can start some discussion and giving you feedback on this. Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for doing this. Those are very useful and exciting
Thanks.
tips, and I think myself has learned a lot. Do you think you can share the slides?
Yes. I will share the slide with everybody. Also, all the faculty at the center member that accepted to be joined this program, they are all willing to share their funded proposals. All what they need is just to send them an email and they will share with you the proposal. At the beginning, we're planning to put that on a shared repository, but since all of them, they are still active projects, so we are willing to share the proposals, just to send an email, just to emphasize that please keep it confidential and just use it for yourself. So that's the only reason. But everybody who's contributing in this program for brainstorming, they agree to share their funded proposals. Yes. You're welcome. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So yeah, if you like that, we'll be doing this several times. I think there are 3 other meetings scheduled for other similar program by Hafiz. One comes through Samir, and next semester we'll have other people like Louis and many others. So you continue getting benefits of this. So yes, Nico.
So really, quick general question. So the call for proposal mentioned a list of cognizant program officers, and they mentioned that you should interact with them. I was wondering whether you could share your experience and how the interaction would play out.
Well, in general, that's not very important. Just the main thing which is important by contact the program director. If you are not sure, probably which probably if the area of your proposal the benefits or not for this program, because program director they're not interfering in the review in general, so they just follow what the reviewers were saying at the panel, and in general they will follow whatever recommendation come from the reviewers. So to get a proposal funding, you need to get in general at least one excellent, and if you get one fair, in general, you are out of the competition. In general, you need to have one reviewer who said excellent for your proposal, and probably the others between very good, probably 2 other very good, and 1 good. So this is how you can survive. Because for this program, for example, they got over, I remember last year it was over 500 submissions just in one deadline. So they got probably same number for the other deadlines. So it is highly competitive. They found in general around between 25 and 30 proposals. So the program director didn't actually interfere a lot. They may give you valuable information like some feedback, like what you are hearing today, that how this will impact your community, what the size of your community. But they will not actually, provide any. You may contact them just to make sure that you are following the expected guidelines for the program. But in terms of support in general, it depends. It depends on the reviewers how they will actually do the proposal. Great. Any other questions? Okay, great. So one question for you. So how many of you are targeting this program? I know that you are writing proposal, Burhanu, we are writing proposals. So there are 2 proposals will be submitted for this data, which is actually almost 1 week from Dair. But
You finish or not?
yeah. But anyway, you are starting an effort and you are writing with 2 other faculty. So you have a colleague from Industrial Engineering Department, right?
Yes,
Here,
and another
IMSC.
one. Yes, another one is mechanical engineering.
Okay, okay. So so you started already effort on that. So that's great. So hopefully you submit. Yeah. So why I'm asking this question is, if you are submitting, we can have a lunch next Thursday, because the deadline will be on Friday. We can exchange any feedback if you want, or if you are missing this deadline, you may submit for later. So don't hesitate to join. Or propose your idea for peer review and so on. Especially you have another colleague from IMSC who is also part of the center as well. So we can support by scheduling some peer review within the center and so on.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So let's think about some potential probably ideas to exchange. I mean, feel free to propose probably an idea, and then we can do some kind of so probably one way to do this is that since probably this is the first time to meet, I know there are PhD candidates attending, but many of the faculty will be involved in this discussion because for PhD candidates, many to learn about this program when you apply for academic interviews later and so on. So probably all the faculty can introduce their main research expertise, and we can go from there to start the discussion. So
Can I ask?
who wants to start? Yes,
Have you already started doing those workshops in your proposal about refactoring?
yes. So actually, we founded the international workshop on refactoring since 2 years ago, and we said we will be continuing this activity. But it's fine to say that you will be building that. You can leverage this by saying you are actually contributing or organizing another workshop, and you will be continuing this activity by founding this new workshop. Because especially for the broader impact and the people, they want to see that you have evidence of that. Evidence mean that because a lot of people, especially on the broader impact, they may propose some crazy ideas, but they will not do it just to impress reviewers. So the way how reviewers look to broader impact, they want to see I did that, and they will be continuing doing this in the future.
Can you invite me to the next workshop?
Oh yeah, sure. So so you are very welcome to come. So we're organizing this with the flagship conference of the field. So yeah, you are very welcome. Yeah, I will not miss that. So who want to start? Bill, do you want to start just describing your research briefly?
Okay. Basically, my recent history is in multimedia content-based retrieval, and I'm into natural language processing now. And basically, any type of signal based on content, because multimedia is a signal based. You can say it's kind of related to pattern recognition, databases, because you're managing data, a lot of AI as well. So that's what I'm doing now.
Great.
And I do have a workshop. We've had it twice. It's in a multimedia conference that's held in the spring, MITR. I'm trying. I didn't apply this year for that because I wasn't happy there. I'm trying to take it to a natural language processing NLP conference, and I hope they accept it. I should hear by the end of this week.
Yeah, great. For example, I don't know. Just feel free whenever you hear somebody talk about his research to probably think about some connections of collaboration. For example, in my research group, we are building chatbots for programmers to help them understand the code. Like one of the pain points of programmers, especially who are joining a new project, so sometimes they spend a lot of time understanding what the code is doing, and they feel, I wish if I can ask questions to better understand my code, so they can go ahead and.
Are you developing that, or are you using stuff on GitHub for that, or whatever?
No, well, we are developing that because we need to customize this. It's not chatbot like you will ask a general question. You're asking questions about the code. Like we can go and look on Stack Overflow if people ask it similar questions.
Well, that's an area. I mean, question answering systems and data management. That's a big area.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But for software engineering, it could be more challenging because for software engineering context, you have to deal with a lot of other source of data, like what's the profile of this person, what files he always change, and so on. So we can have more personalized answer that is just beyond looking to the keywords in the questions and so on, like in other domains. So there are some characteristics in the software engineering problems that make it probably more specific than answering questions in general. So, for example, if you want to write something to this program, it could be something like, in my research group, there is Sumaya and also Fahid who are working on this chatbots, intelligent support for programmers. We published papers on that. You are working more on natural language processing. You propose this algorithm. We want to integrate them together into a platform to enable intelligent artificial support for programmers to understand their code via natural language processing. So this is what reviewers may want to see, that you are experts in NLP and other experts in something. There is connections. So is to build the platform. This is kind of the song how reviewers want to see. You are building on existing capabilities, and you are writing proposal to integrate the platform. So, anyone else have an idea with interest to NLP or?
Yeah, we published already in places, but I don't have any tools that we've developed.
Okay, great. So I
We
can
run
run
lots of
this.
experiments.
Yeah, but you have some papers in good venues around this, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I can just put this idea like artificial assistant support um, for software engineer. Or here a way to leverage this that we can say that scientists in general they're not good in programming and they spend long time to understand existing research prototype that are software. So we want to have them this kind of support because if you are expert in programming, you may not need that, and this will fit with the program. That this is more for the scientific community and so on. So that's probably one. Anyone else want to has an idea that could benefit from NLP that you may think of? Yes.
Yeah, because my research is more on machine learning and health informatics, and in health informatics, the big data are usually referred to EHR, electrical health records. Some of the data are just in natural language. If you want to find some space that embedded those language into a structural space, then NLP experts are more demanded and depend on different language, depend on different domain. You need to design your specific models in detail. So I think that's one possible bridge between.
Yeah. So Billy was proposing that NLP would be used to kind of reducing noise in the data or having search in big data, and so on. And the question that probably here is that okay, there are two distinct capabilities on this, one on big data, one on NLP, but the question is how this can help the scientific community. I mean, you can leverage this if you have, for example, a platform that you have probably an initial prototype out of your previous research that is missing that NLP part, but you have to explain why this NLP part is critical to actually meet the scientific community need. So that's, I mean, something we need to think about. Yeah, great. Any other ideas? Yeah, I will put, I mean, big data plus NLP, and that could be, probably you can have meeting with Bill or other people who may be interested in that. So let me put, so anyone else want to jump on this idea as well of, for example, artificial. Oh yeah. Yeah. So just. So. Yeah, your last name of it. Yeah. Anyone else?
Is your context the current NSF proposal, or are you looking beyond that?
For this brainstorming, we are looking for this current one. So, for example, next week we'll have another program. So, the way how we are trying to approach this within the center is that trying to make sure that we can leverage our current strength. Like if you have people who get funded for within this program, they know what are the expectations, so we can produce results in a week period, and then we'll be continuing expanding this.
Okay.
I mean, down the road. So that's the goal. Yeah.
Is anybody doing anything health related?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some analysis on different health data, like fMRI, EEG, and some data from the sensors from the wearable devices.
I'm giving a midterm.
Okay.
But, so I'm involved with some people doing, I don't know how to say this, food and recipes and diet
Uh-huh.
and
Nutritional.
nutritional and using it, saying, I know, basically, network type science of, algorithms and NLP stuff.
Oh, it's something.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
we-
can
and we have a
continue the
workshop
discussion.
again.
Yeah.
It's gonna be with data engineering, it's gonna be the third year that we've had.
Yeah, that's great. So you can continue discussion on this, but just to be specific on the program, we want to focus really on ideas that can feed with that program. But this is also great, discussion. Berhani, you want to go next?
So I do research in cybersecurity. I focus on three main areas. The first one is security and privacy in machine learning systems. I focus on how to attack and defend deployed machine learning models, or how to infer private information from already deployed machine learning. The other areas I have been working on are cybercrime analysis, which is basically given some system, consider system or enterprise network that is believed to be infected. How are we going to reconstruct and characterize the infection and build evidence from that one? Quite lately, I'm also working on cyber threat intelligence, which is basically looking at this advanced and nation-state attacks and doing detection and forensics.
Great. So yeah, security is quite broad. So Berhani is more working on software security side. So we are working on a proposal for this program, for example, to leverage our both capabilities in security and quality. Because right now, when it comes to detecting vulnerabilities and quality issue, what scientists and practitioners need to do in general, you have tools for security, tools for quality. And even the outcomes of these tools could be conflicting. Like if you want to fix this quality issue, you may expand an attack surface and vice versa. So our collaboration is how we can provide the scientific community who are in general having a weak background in programming towards, avoiding security issues and quality issue, a platform that can provide this holistic view of both quality and security. And we were finding a lot of great examples, and I can show you the way how we are approaching this. We are finding some great examples, like this concrete example from an existing scientific tool that actually suffered from several uh, vulnerabilities. So this is a scientific tool that was deployed actually by NASA. And then NASA, when they deploy it, they actually find that there is a vulnerability issue there, and that was actually harmful to them and so on. So this is show the need to have probably better tool support for the science community, because this is one of the challenges when industry, for instance, want to adopt your research prototypes. They may take like a third-party library, which is defined by scientists, but these libraries, they contain vulnerability and they are source of vulnerability. So we are trying to address this together. So that's, and anyone else work on, he want or he sees security as one of the potential probably complementary expertise that you may see an idea around it.
Okay, like security sounds like that would sell to industry. Industry would need better security. How do scientists, legal based scientists need?
Yeah, so actually we try to leverage the motivation that as a scientist, when I want my research deployed by industry, which is one of the highest impact to benefit society and so on, one of the main barriers currently is that people in industry, they don't want probably to trust or deploy scientific projects because they think they may introduce some vulnerabilities into their current systems, and we are showing that via concrete examples. So what we are saying that if we have a platform that can actually deal with both security and quality, we can actually deal with this issue and encourage more technology transfer of to the science community to actually deploy their prototypes in practice and so on. This is how we leverage it. You need to find a way how you can find this link, and it should be really strong link that you can find some concrete example that show this kind of need by the scientific community. So, yeah, I think one possible idea, for example, Probir, you are working on performance bugs, and the general performance bug are related to security as well. So,
Yeah, so the problem is that sometimes when you try to improve the performance, probably decrease the security. Right?
yes,
They are completely two different directions. So how do
Yes.
you make them together? Having security and highest performance together could be an interesting direction.
yeah, I think that could be an interesting actually direction. So I can put it as probably an idea that dealing with performance, especially that you have already code that can detect, performance bugs, and Verhano has the same thing. So it could be unified platform around this.
So I'm not sure, but at least looking at performance degradation as one indicator of security compromises, that would be interesting to look at.
Another thing is that, so what I do is I develop performance tools that improve inefficiency in applications. And how can you build some lightweight tools to identify security risks? For example, I use hardware performance monitoring, right? So how can you use them? Because sometimes security detection, security vulnerability detection is like more trace-based, right? They take long time because you're every memory or something like that. So how can you make them lightweight? That could be another direction.
Right. So yeah, that could be. The goal is to put some idea, then we can meet in a smaller groups and have more probably detailed discussion. Then we can decide to write a proposal on it, and that's kind of the way. Yes. Yeah, you want to go next? Yes.
My turn? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Jun Ho, and I'm working on the cybersecurity of the power systems, which is like transmission or distribution systems. So I'm not actually looking for the special areas in this program, but I'm looking for other cyber physical security research area for the other NSF funding source.
Yeah.
So, for example, the power system cybersecurity and the IT system cybersecurity, we have some differences there. Just for example, for the power system cybersecurity, we need to find, detect and mitigate cyber attacks within about 1 or 2 milliseconds. This is because if something happens outside, just for example, like a power system fault, then we need to detect this fault and clear the fault, which means open the circuit breaker, so that way we can eliminate the fault systems within our power systems. So within less than 10 milliseconds or something like that. However, all these communication and controls and measurements, now we are using the communications. So this is one of the big cyber, the vulnerabilities in the power system areas, because now we are changing for the hardwires to the communications. And in this case, we need to detect and mitigate those cyber attacks within 2-3 milliseconds. But here we have big conditions, which is we also need to be careful because if we are proposing more cyber security applications in our existing protection systems, so in that way, if we delay our protections, then it is going to be a huge impact. So we need to make sure we don't delay any invasive functions, but adding more cyber functions. So that is the main challenges for the power system areas. And because of this, within very short detection
time frame.
Yeah, time frame. So we may have, because my research area last 5 years in industry is more analyzing the communication packets or looking at the application level of the anomalies or intuitions. So in the case, we may have a little bit higher rate of the false negative and positive ratios because we need to detect them really short within limited data. So my question here is, I really want to use the machine learning algorithms the way how we can actually reduce those false ratios. So if we can find some ways to reduce those ratios, for the existing anomaly or internet detection systems for the
Yeah.
power systems. I think it is going to be really good research.
So actually what you are proposing, it's an idea that you may need as well an expert in machine learning. So I think in the room we have at least, you on machine learning and Bill, you are doing machine learning, but yeah, probably Louis is more doing fundamental machine learning algorithm. And one possible way you can discuss together out of his research, are there any of the techniques that he proposed based on his machine learning algorithm that could benefit for your problem? So you'll be kind of the expert. You have these prototypes that are working for the energy rated systems, and you need an expert machine learning. Then you are trying to combine this together to build a platform, but you need to justify how this will impact not only practitioners but also scientists in a way. I've seen people on this type of proposals, the way how they do it, they try to emphasize sometimes a little bit some educational impact as well. Like that could be used if they're doing simulation, they may use this can be used in courses or stuff like that. But could be probably the challenging part. Or probably your platform could be, for example, if people are facing difficulties to do experiments of these systems, you can actually try to leverage machine learning, how I can provide a simulation platform that could be used by scientists so you can enable more realistic large-scale experiments of this. That's the way how people handle this kind of projects. Yeah. Yes,
I want to throw out a term here. It's called event detection and amelioration. I mean, what is an event? I think with the Internet of Things, people are doing that. They're putting sensors all over the world, and you can detect various events. Bad things, good things, whatever you want to call an event. And if it's bad, you can do something in reaction.
Yeah. So totally. That's an interesting, but also another interesting area that, because since we don't have enough time, let's probably make it now a little bit broad. Because one area that was receiving a lot of interest from both scientists and the engineers is the area of smart mobility. And this kind of area, it's in general requires several set of expertise. So, for example, if you write to propose this program around smart mobility and so on, it may get a lot of attention because this is important for both scientists and engineers. And smart mobility is nowadays people they are building tools, for instance, to help you finding the right path quickly. I mean, or where to park your car based on understanding your profiling. So they look to the history, for example, of actions that you took in the past. For example, at 9 a.m. you always go to park in this place, but probably right now the system know that already there is a car in that place, so it will give you an alternative very quickly and so on. So there are a lot of
I've been thinking about all these things because to me a trip is like a document, and the words are like the stops. So when you say NLP, I mean it's broader than that.
Yes, yeah,
But I don't know. I tried to do something like that.
But NLP it's an important aspect because part of smart mobility is, of course, there is the voice recognition part because part of smart mobility they want
I'm
the
interested in
driver.
generalizing techniques that are used for NLP to other things. You know, like word embeddings, be trip embeddings, anything like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it would be used for. I just like to think.
Yeah, I'm just saying this kind of big problems in general require multiple expertise, and we can have some brainstorming that at the same time we are talking in this program, but we are talking as well relevant problems that could be as well useful for us. Because smart mobility has a lot of problems related to, for example, personalization of profiling, and that's require combination of machine learning and so on. It's deal with security issues. It deals with software development issues as well. NLP, because in smart mobility, the goal is that the driver will maybe use his voice to interact with the system. So this kind of big problems, we can narrow down this, and I think industry is also looking for this. So probably having a proposal on smart mobility, for example, in this program, could be interesting because we can also extend it later for a lot of current industry needs. So just I mean, I'm trying to throw some ideas of big problems as well from it that require AI as one of the main
Besides the ones
components.
you mentioned, are the ones I was thinking about. What are some of the really interesting problems in smart home? I can't find anything that I can.
Yeah, actually,
sink my teeth in.
yeah,
Except
so-
route planning, maybe, that's.
Yeah, actually, what we try to do within the center as well is to try to invite speakers from industry to talk about this hot topic and their needs. Um, so, so probably one of the things that we'll do, for example, if we identify these topics, we can actually go and have brainstorming meetings as well, where we invite um, uh, executives or managers or whatever from industry to talk about the problems, even at the general that they're facing, and having brainstorming of ideas.
Most of the problems seem to be in the networking area right now, at least.
But mobility now, the main challenge that they always mention, it's mainly the intelligence part. I mean, how you can learn from the data, especially that they're collecting a huge amount of data, and this is the biggest challenge, how you can do profiling. And
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like a document where people use Word to Vec and they get one word is close to another, it's semantically similar theoretically. So one stop on a trip is close by.
Yeah.
But I mean, so people talked about convoys in the early days, I recall, in mobility where you have a bunch of cars going to the same place. And somehow they communicate with each other more than other cars. But
Yeah.
that's networking. I'm not into that. Some people are.
Yeah.
There's going to be resource planning as well. Which vehicle are you going to take? How many vehicles are going to be available?
Yeah, but Hani, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to add, privacy is one of the main
Yes.
concerns they have. So
Yeah.
this summer I was at Ford, and one of the issues they are having with all these interesting mobility initiatives is it really limits, how much data you can access and how much you can process, because there are these regulations that come with, vehicle ownership that will basically cripple, the way data is system. So privacy is a big issue.
Yeah, because for they're working with IBM, I think, on this kind of problem, like how they can process partially the data to actually change the decisions quickly. And I read an article online around this that was started last year, I believe. So, yeah. So anyone has an idea that you want to propose that you may think, because since we have limited time, you think that it could be relevant for this program.
I don't know for the program or not, there are two things that maybe. I'm editing a book right now with 3 other people around the world on knowledge management for data intensive systems. It's a very broad thing. Those promise to be a chapter at this point in time. If you have interest in that, I'll send out the RFP. We're just looking for outline now. We're reading chapters in January, and we'll get peer reviewed and then shepherding peer reviews. We'll need the feedback on what we think will change. I think that similar to things are an important part of this because knowledge management is a big issue. The funded research stuff I'm working on right now is all tied up on things similar to what Bill was describing, routing kind of stuff. There are ways to introduce augmented reality stuff and to look at connections between artifacts in museums and non-print collections in Ann Arbor. That's the big thing. That's going to be a lot of text, natural language processing stuff. We'll have to see how much natural language processing stuff. But those are 2 things I'm looking at.
Okay, great. So, yeah, Arisa, you want to say?
2 ideas.
Sure.
One, of course, it has been already implemented in Georgia Tech, but it might be relevant in the scope of this infrastructure. They've got this robotorium where they've got basically an area with robots and then people on web can program these robots remotely and observe them.
Nice.
So it might be something that even for the use type of brand, because it's a combination of robotics, programming. all that.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know if they want it to be something completely novel.
It should be built on existing, so it should be something like if these guys at Georgia Tech, they provide the code open source and you can contribute to that. That's going to be one thing. But in general, it's better that, okay, I did something. It could be the way how you write the proposal could be that I did something similar to this, but there are some extra steps to adapt it to this context, and I want to use this funding for that because that will enable, new scientific knowledge to the community and so on. So that's one way to operate. So if you did something similar in that direction, so that could be interesting way to do. Because, for example, in my group in the past, we worked a little bit as well on code generation based on the context and so on. That's something that could be adapted to what you just said, like based on the observation and the context and so on, so you can actually inject a new code that can make the robots behaving differently depending on the context. So, what did you say was this?
Robotarium. Robotariums.
Robot.
ROBA. And I think that it's TA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this can be something that can do multidisciplinary here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really great. I will look at that.
The second thing. if
Yeah.
I may say,
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's related to NLP. Yeah, so NLP, so robotic locomotion manipulation, I was having this idea for some time that actually can present primitive gates using alphabets in the language, and then you'll have to, once you want to basically get a smooth pattern from one movement to the other, the question is how to make sure that these the codes of this alphabet are connected together so that you have a proper behavior. But the problem with NLP is that, not the problem. So the thing that NLP is basically, language is a low-dimensional creature. It's what state space of these robots are.
A word okay.
And then the question is how to
That
do
thing's called
dimension.
word embeddings, which actually creates a large vector for every word. And you can do retrieval basically.
Yeah. So, how do you want to call it? NLP plus.
Robotic, let's say, locomotion /
Okay,
So how does the field progress? Because I was kind of tangentially doing something in this area 25 years ago.
It's going basically. So, right now, biped and power processing.
So they're still doing path planning?
Yeah, path planning is
Isn't that
still.
for 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're gonna have, UPS is now delivering things by drone for CBS, so it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens with that. I've got all these great ideas for them at this point in time. Not only can I follow the Amazon vans around and take things off the front porch, now I can shoot EMP pulses at the drones and steal medicine.
Yeah, so agricultural robotics, specific for agricultural path planning.
I know I should be security.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes,
exactly. Communication.
So, my name is Christopher Schneider. I'm a professor here in mechanical engineering. I'm excited about what Ellie Race is talking about because I deal with Megatron systems, typically computer numerical control manufacturing tools, whether they be subtractive or additive. And so the path planning and the locomotion is very similar. Obviously, robotic arms are typically more free to move than these 3-axis CNC machines. But I'm interested in what we can do to bring the science to computing there, helping people to manufacture their parts on these tools, because they're used to communicating with STL files, files of triangles, or CAD files themselves from hundreds of vendors now, or G code. And these are all 40-year-old ideas on how to communicate and design. And they're all open loop in terms of manufacturing. Now we're going to talk about the way that you close the feedback loop to get improved manufacturing performance. So that's close control and economic systems.
Great. So yeah, do you want to put as a separate idea?
I don't see natural language processing in it at all.
Oh, you want to put it here?
No.
Same category. Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah.
Natural language processing?
No NLP.
Oh, no NLP. Okay.
This is CNC machine tools or relied motion.
Okay.
CNC, computer network.
CNC. Okay. So I put other user or
PANNIER.
PANNIER.
You're the only one using your last
Yeah,
everybody is.
No, it's fine. So it's
Fine.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. Not a big deal. So, okay. So just to kind of discuss briefly a plan of action. So, I know probably you got a lot of information today. Probably it may take a bit of time to digest all this information. I'll be sending the slides to the mailing list of the center. For those who didn't join the center yet, but I think I got already emails from them. So we are now 34, so I don't know how much we can get more. So, but probably since we'll be welcoming more members, and thank you for joining. So, so if you want to join the center, please send me an email of the 2-page CV, because we are planning to submit the official proposal by the end of this week. So you can be added to our mailing list. I'll be sharing the proposals in the center mailing list, and the follow-up meetings will be within the center as well. So we'll have these ideas, but please, try to think about some potential ideas. What we can do, probably we can have another follow-up meeting. Just bring your ideas and look if others can contribute to this idea, or look to the profile of other members in the center and try to come up with ideas. So our next meeting, it will be like, if you have an interest to target this program, or you want to contribute in one of the existing ideas, or to come and doing more brainstorming, we'll do that in a smaller group. I think for now we have a clear idea about what are the expectations of this program and so on. So the next meeting will be probably with the people who really want to enter this program. We'll have a follow-up meeting to actually have more focused discussion. Then we'll even go to smaller and smaller groups based on the project that will be defined. Any suggestions for that? Yes.
Do we have any members from Castle?
Yes, so there are 3 faculty from Castelia who are doing statistics and so on. They all have conflicts with teaching. And by the way, Maya will be sending a survey today to collect your feedback about this first session. So we want to get your feedback, whether, for example, you prefer this meeting on Friday. One of the reasons that actually we didn't put on Friday, because there are too much meetings in general on Friday. But if you want to change the time, or we better manage the time, because I got several emails from here, they have really conflict with you on Wednesday. I don't know why. Probably in our campus, we schedule a lot of courses on Wednesday, probably. But if we need to change this to another day, or suggesting another way to schedule this meeting, we are happy, to get your feedback. So feel free, and please complete the survey to just keep record and improving this meeting and the program down the road. Yes?
I would ask about the duration of the meeting. It was advertised for a 2-hour meeting, but I felt like an hour would have been a lot better for me than 2 hours.
Yes.
There's great information. I like all the information. Is
Yeah.
there some way we could keep the future ones to just 1 hour?
Yeah, okay, so what I would suggest that you put this feedback in the survey form, so you have to, and one idea to do this is that we may decide to split the meeting in 2 meetings. It should be 1 hour to describe the program, the PI experience, and so on. And then you go digest this information more, and then probably after 3 or 4 days or a week, we will have another 1 hour meeting more for brainstorming, or you bring some ideas, getting feedback and so on. So we can split it probably into 2 meetings, or probably you may attend the first meeting and you may say, probably I'm not interested to this program now, so I'm not attend the second meeting. So people who are interested to do this program, they'll be more in the second meeting. That's one way that that we can do that. So
Maybe with that format, in that case, could the first one be half an hour, just to get the PI's experience and the program?
And the second half would be
half an hour. Fit the whole program into 1 hour, whether you break it up in 2 days or not.
okay. We can do that. So, but the main, because just from the experience of today, we spent 1 hour to describe the program, the PI experience, and answering the question. And then the second hour was for the brainstorming. So in general, people, they really want to ask questions about the programs and so on. And it's hard to do brainstorming questions and answer and probably description of the program and the PI experience in just 1 hour. That's why I said probably you can split in a way that probably you can have an hour for the PI experience and talk, then probably half an hour for questions and answer and interaction. It may include some questions like some brainstorming, like, I have this idea, do you think that this fit with this program? Or we can change it in that way. But I totally agree, probably 2 hours could be, probably to concentrate during the 2 hours could be a lot. Hopefully it was not a boring meeting, so but I know it's hard to concentrate during 2 hours on this. So yeah, please make sure that you mention that in the survey so we can keep record on that and making suggestions to improve these processes. So great. Okay, so we are on time. Thanks again for coming, and yeah, so. Great, thank you so much, and thanks for coming. Yeah, that should be great. Actually, we can schedule a meeting just to get your perception. I can meet with you, CRB, because one of the things that we'll be starting, actually we're starting this right now. Actually, get one of the want to sign up.
Last semester was a lab, and now we're
inviting them as well.
We're compiling the proposals. One is
yeah, that's
because he's the one who initiated everything.
Yes, I saw that you have you also have a startup.
Yes.
Yeah, because I looked at your LinkedIn and sent an invitation. Yeah, so yes, that's great. So we'll schedule a meeting together in my office. I'm going through all these items and see how it's going. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks. Yeah.
Let's try. She wants one. Yeah, it's bigger.
Yeah, thanks.